Behind me here is the very first Sunseeker Ocean 156. And having had a quick look round, I can guarantee you it has one of the most interesting new interiors I've seen on any boat this year. And I'm going to show you every single inch of it. My name is Hugo Andreae, you're watching Motorboat and Yachting. Let's go and take a proper look. Now, the Ocean range is a slightly different design idea to Sunseeker's more sporty craft. So it has a more vertical bow, a really wide beam, and an exceptional amount of volume on board. And you can get some idea of the scale of it by walking along the side, and we'll pause briefly to take a look at some of the stats. So, the 156 name refers to the internal volume, the gross tonnage. It is actually just 82 foot 6 inches long. And I'm going to remind you about that figure because you won't believe how much space there is on board for an 82 foot boat. Now the beam is extra wide, so it's 21 foot 6 inches wide, and that's what it enables it to be such an enormous amount of boat for its length. Now prices for this start at £5.28 million for the starting price, but realistically a fully spec one such as this is about 6.9 million. But you will see where that money goes in just a second. Now, in common with all of the Ocean range, it has an enormous beach club area at the stern. It's what people are looking for on boats these days. It gives you a fantastic place to hang out by the sea with all the amenities you need on a much lower level, so you're really close to the action. Now, if we have a look at the bathing platform here, you can see just how long it is, but also you'll notice there's a cutout here, and that is because this is the hydraulic section of the bathing platform, and that is where you keep your tender and your jet ski. You can get a Williams 435 and a jet ski on that, and that sinks down into the water to help launch it. It also has an elevating set of steps that you use as passerelle that will go down into the sea or lift up to the quay if you need it. Now, there's lots going on here. You can see all this high quality, seriously heavy duty stern gear, but as well as storage along here, we've got a barbecue. This unfolds from here. I think it's locked at the moment, but it unfolds and creates a barbecue there. You've also got this fabulous extend seating system. Now, we've seen this before on Sunseekers, but if you haven't seen it in action, you've got the option of it facing out towards the sea like this, but it will also swing up and raise up to deck level, and then you can open these glass gates here and you have a huge cockpit extension. There is also a lot of storage for sea bobs under here. You can have one sea bob under each of these staircases, and in fact there is a big storage locker behind that transom too, which take another two, so you can have up to 4 sea bobs stored on board. Now, if we walk up these steps here, we come into the main cockpit area, and this has deliberately been kept very open. So this has got freestanding furniture. You can have fitted furniture here if you'd rather, but the idea is this way you can then have it facing both ways. And of course, when these gates open up and you've got the extend seating facing into the cockpit, you then have a really nice socializing space with everybody facing each other. There are an enormous number of wet bars on board this boat, and I'll try and make sure we cover them all, but you can see there is a slimline one here. It is fully featured. You've got a fridge in there and an ice maker in there. So everywhere you go, there is a wet bar or facilities for grabbing a cool drink. Over on this side, it's more about storage. They're just simple lockers, but worth pointing out that on this side you've also got controls for the engine. So particularly in the Mediterranean, when you're mooring stern to, the captain is most likely to want to drive the boat from here, can see exactly what's going on, how close you are to the quay, whilst keeping a very close eye on things. Just close that down. We'll have a quick look up the side decks here, only really to show you just how safe and wide they are, because these are really, really tall. If you look at me here, it's well up to my waist height here, slightly above my waist, so very nice and safe. But before we do that, just a couple of things to point out here. Huge storage locker on the port side for ropes, shoes, all of that malarkey. And over on this side, very cleverly, there is a dayheads compartment. And that, I think, is absolutely brilliant. It's fully air conditioned. It's exactly where you need it to be. You can come out, if you come up from the sea, you can go straight in there and not have to traipse through wet footmarks into the saloon itself. Really simple, really clever idea. Just check out this main deck though. It's such an incredible vista when you come through this door and are able to see all the way through the boat, right out through the front doors to that foredeck. And there are loads of different ways you can have this fitted out. This is what they call the mid-galley option, which, as it suggests, has got the galley in the middle of the space. But you can also have an aft galley, in which case that tends to be along one side, and then you've got a dining station to the other side. But the beauty of this is it just feels so open. And that beam, once again, makes itself felt straight away. You've got width rather than a long, narrow, sort of tunnel-like layout. You've just got space that feels much more like a beachside apartment. Got a big TV on that side. It is permanent, that, so it does compromise the view just a little bit, but then because of these very tall bulwarks, it's not like you're missing out on a huge amount of view. But really wonderful vibe to this whole layout. And here is the mid galley, so this is very much the heart of the boat in this particular spec. So you can see you've got a bar out forward into the dining area. You've got the staircase, but because it's a kind of floating staircase, it doesn't really get in the way of the view. And then you've got a similar bar here, so it feels connected to both ends of the boat, right in the center of the action. Now it's fully equipped with all the usual kit. We've got a full-size dishwasher, got a microwave, fridge freezer, sink over on this side, oven, and more refrigeration drawers in here. So both of those are fridges. Love the fact that you've got doors both sides, so if it is crew can come and go from here. You also got a door on that side, so there's always a very natural flow through the boat, and because of these wide side decks, it's equally easy to move around outside. Now here is the staircase that goes both to the upper deck and down to the accommodation, but because of all these glass side panels, it's really not intrusive at all. And then moving forward from here into the dining space, this is really my favorite spot in this layout because you are completely surrounded by full height glass. Got a circular table, really sociable arrangement. You've got this bar area here. You can have this more as a sit-up bar if you want to by extending that panel out and then having a couple of stools there. But for serving, you've got a wine fridge in there. This is where all the sort of crockery and cutlery goes. There you go, you can see it's all beautifully laid out in there. We've got the crockery, glasses, all conveniently located and all with their proper little dedicated spaces. Now, one of the other key options is that you can have a main deck master cabin here, and if you do that, then there is a bulkhead pretty much in line with this galley bar, and then this becomes a full ensuite main deck master cabin. I'm really torn as to what I'd go for. I think this is such a lovely layout having it opening, mainly because you just get that vista right through the boat, and because you've got these opening doors at the front too, you then have a wonderful flow of air. But if you did go for the main deck master, then you would of course have your own private access to this foredeck area. And this is just wonderful. So both these doors slide over. There is a little bit of a step up through there, but because they both open, you've got this really wide entrance. And then quite an unusual foredeck arrangement with opposed seating. So you've got it angled across on this side, facing another similar angled table on this side. So you can have sort of two separate groups, but both interconnected because you're facing towards them. The other thing they've done is put all the deck gear under hatches, so it keeps it completely clear. You're not stubbing your toes on anchors and winches. There are winches for the mooring lines, but all the anchor gear is under here. So the main windlasses, the anchors, the wash, all of that is carefully secreted away under there, under a teak panel, so you can use it as a socializing space without all of that being on show. Now let's go up that internal staircase to the upper deck. Love the fact that this is also open, because we've got these slats here and these glass panels here and these floating steps. All the light flows through, so it's a very lightweight structure. And this is remarkably big, given that this is only 82 foot, remember, and this is the upper deck. Absolutely amazing amount of space and light. And what I love about the way they've done this, they've got so many opening sections. So you can see there's a big opening sunroof overhead here. There's also a drop-down glass window here. You probably can't really see, but I'll see if I can lower that down a little bit more. There you go, you can probably just see the glass moving here, but drops a long way down, so you've got a lovely flow of air through the boat. We've got opening side door on this side that leads forward to the foredeck. We'll take a look at that in a minute. And then of course those big opening doors at the aft end. And even here you've got overhead glass panels, so there's just light pouring into it from every angle. Now, various different options you can have up here. You can have a second helm seat alongside that one if you want to. You can also screen that off, so if you want to, you can have a sliding bulkhead there, so that the crew can be separate if they want to be helming the boat at night, for instance. The other possible benefit of that is that you can have a convertible bed sofa here, so if you want to use it as an occasional fifth cabin, you can slide the bulkhead, and then this becomes a perfectly usable fifth cabin. Frankly, rather a cool position as well, way up here. TV here, so you can watch it from the lounge. Another wine fridge up here. Lots of handy storage. And then moves seamlessly out onto the upper aft deck. And I'm amazed at how big this is. I was expecting this to be a much smaller outside space, but it's a really decent length. Yes, another wet bar here, of course. Got a sink there, got a fridge in there, got an ice maker, got a grill. And look at this lovely glass balcony here, so you've got a fantastic view aft as well as to the sides. They've kept this as a freestanding furniture space. You can have built-in furniture if you want permanent fixed GRP furniture with storage in, you can do that. But because it's all so modular, I think people like the versatility that it offers to be able to move the furniture around and use the space how they want. Bit of overhang here provides a bit of shade. And then let's move forward, because there is another entire outside space forward. Now this is the only entrance to it, so you come out through these glass doors. There is an option of an extra helm station there, so if the skipper wants to drive the boat from here when coming alongside rather than running down to the aft cockpit, that's an option too. But check this out. How about this for a fine place to view the world from? It's raised forward deck, high-low table, so you can sit out here and dine. Obviously very private, particularly if you're in a marina, berth stern to. And the really cool option, you can have a spa tub here. So imagine what that'd be like, sitting in that spa tub, view forward over the foredeck, all that extra elevation. That's going to feel pretty special. Now you can walk around, you can sort of hop across here. It's not really a Portuguese bridge as such. You can hop across just if you need access to this side to clean anything or so on, hang fenders, whatever. There is space to move around there, and if there weren't a huge pot plant, you could get through there too. Now, because this has a fully enclosed upper deck, this is the only helm station, but what a wonderful place to drive the boat from this is. Because of that elevated height, you've got a great view forward. There's nothing in the way there. You've got just those stainless steel guardrails, so you've got a fine view in that direction. You've got 360-degree visibility through the stern over on this side. So sometimes these raised pilot house models can feel a bit restrictive in terms of what you can see. This one seems absolutely fine. All the usual controls, throttles, bow and stern thrusters, as well as a joystick. Wireless charger for your phone, 2 huge Garmin glass bridge screens, and access to all the engine facilities, all the tankage, all the boat systems on this one. Now let's take a look down at the accommodation deck. You can see this beautiful glass staircase curving round. And let's go aft to start with. Pausing briefly to note that if you want, there is space for washing machines and so on in here, but at the moment those are fitted in the crew area. Exactly the same here. There's a lot of storage on board this boat, but you can see there is space for a washer dryer in there if you want it. Lots of extra little storage options. But this is the master cabin. And this is Design Unlimited, have done all the interior work, and it has a completely new colour palette and choice of materials. Very nice and calming. There are lots of different ways you can tweak it with different colour woods. This is called sand oak. Just very nice, little bit grayer than perhaps than the standard sort of light oak finish, but looks very nice and calm and light. You can add more colour if you want to, but it's got lots of subtle sort of textures and variations going on. You can look in this bedhead, you've got sort of rebated sections, slightly proud sections, herringbone style use of the grains of the wood. Lots of storage along this side, absolutely enormous hull windows. Quite low level bed, sort of just below knee height, but plenty of floor space all around. Big TV on the bulkhead. And look how much floor space there is on this side of the bed. Really lovely. That's where the beam really makes a difference. Vanity unit here with a little mirror and desk area if you want to use it for working. Lots of storage. A little kind of lobby dressing area at the entrance to the bathroom. Again, masses of storage in all these. I won't show you them all, but there is plenty of space. And look at this, a really elegant bathroom. Lovely detailing, huge circular mirror, this kind of soft gold finish on the outside, backlit, and then separation where you move from, I believe this is called balanced walnut, this wood finish, into the very clean, all white stone finish. And they've moved away from the sort of heavily grained marbles and so on to this much cleaner, calmer look. Really nice detailing. Just look at the kind of layering going on here. You've got a little oval plinth to match those circular basins. You've then got a marble style finish here, and then similar tone but fluted edge to it here. Really nice detailing. And then moving forward through the boat, we come first on the port hand side to a twin cabin. Now this can have sliding beds as an option, so those will slide across and create a double if you need it. But again, for a fourth cabin, amazing amount of light and space. Look at the size of those hull windows. Big opening central port. And also the ensuite bathroom is extremely generous for what is, after all, the fourth guest cabin. Again, more use of that soft gold and circular bottom to the mirror, more of that lovely different tonal textured surfacing. Really good walk-in shower. And then if we come out from this one and move across to the starboard side, there is the third guest double. Now this would look like a VIP in most boats, but again, it's because of that beam. There is enough width to have a really generous king-size bed, but with room down either side. Another huge hull window. Decent sized TV on the bulkhead, and another big bathroom. It's a really restful kind of finish in here. It all just feels very calm. Not exactly minimalist, but it's just so clean that the interest is from the sort of shapes and textures rather than anything too garish. And this is, well, technically the forward VIP, but they're selling it almost as a second master cabin, and it does feel like that, particularly with this sort of lobby way into it, and then this very impressive and wrap-around bedhead that seems to kind of embrace you in its welcome. It's really very lovely. Good size hull windows here, and because of that vertical bow and carrying the beam a long way forward, you've also got plenty of width either side of the bed, and only this tiny little step. Most of the time when you come to a VIP forward, you tend to have a bit of a clamber up steps to reach the bed because of the shape of the bow, but this really feels much more expansive. Lots of storage all the way around. I won't open them all, but nice to point out these new kind of bronze effect little latches with just a little bit of kind of dimpled surface that adds a bit of colour and texture. Full height hanger storage on this side, and of course another ensuite bathroom. Slightly quirky triangular shape, frosted glass window there. Not quite as much natural light in this one, but again a very, very good size. Particularly that shower cubicle. There is that access back into the saloon. But let me show you the crew area and the engine space. Now this is another small detail that I like. Rather than the usual GRP door, they put a lovely glass door in there, and that straight away just makes it seem less claustrophobic because you've got lots of natural light coming in here, as well as a door that you can leave open because it slides away. It's not one of these ones that hinged open, so it slides away. It doesn't impede the side deck at all, so you've got a lot more fresh air in here too. Proper staircase, you're not trying to shimmy down a ladder. There is a technical space in here, so all the electrics and the nav gear can be kept well away from the hot engines. And then if I spin around this way, we'll see there's access to the engine room. We'll take a look in there in a minute. But first of all, we've got a small galley area. Well, it's more of a laundry, to be honest. There's a sink. We've got laundry facilities stacked up here, so that's well away from the guest areas. Then we have, this is actually the ensuite bathroom. We've got cushions for one of the deck spaces in here, but there is a bathroom here with a loo, not ensuite, but it's obviously a shared bathroom for the two crew cabins, one of which is in here. So bunk cabin in here. Obviously not a huge space, but again, really nice to have a decent sized hull window and an opening hatch, so you do get some natural light in there. Small galley space with a microwave and a fridge. And then a second crew cabin in here. It's just a single cabin there, but again, there is some natural light and an opening porthole up at the end of the bed there. Let's take a look in the engine room while we're here. Apologies if there's a little bit of flickering on camera, but hopefully if I hold it steady we can get a proper look round. So standard option is a pair of MAN V8s of 1300 horsepower, which should give 23 to 24 knots. With the bigger V12s, the 1650s, you should get 26 knots. But perhaps more importantly, it has a cruising range of 900 nautical miles at 10 to 12 knots. Now you can see we've got twin generators back there, and it has a fully integrated Humphrey electric fin stabilizers and trim tab system. New carbon fibre exhaust keeps them all a little bit smaller, cleaner and neater. So plenty of headroom here and very nicely lit too. Let's finish up the tour of the Sunseeker Ocean 156, sat in this lovely foredeck area with those doors into the main saloon. Now, prices for this boat start at £5.28 million ex VAT, but fully specced up with the bigger engines and with all the kit you can see on it here, it's closer to about £6.9 million. But I've been totally blown away by this boat. This, to me, is what the Ocean series is all about. You've got exceptional volume, you've got amazing versatility, and a really lovely interior. For me, this is the complete compact super yacht. So do please let me know what you make of it in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll make sure we bring you more of these exclusive tours as soon as we possibly can.